guys, my name is Jack Gardiner and welcome back to another free lesson on a Friday. This time we are going to be taking a look at bending and how we can manipulate the notes in a really modern way. Before we dig into the teaching part of things though guys, I do want to just ask you, please do make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click that little bell for notifications. I make lesson content every Friday, totally free, doing similar kind of things to this one, and I'm also open for suggestions. So a lot of these lessons have been directly from the comment section on YouTube or through emails directly to me. I'm always open to new ideas. It's a load of fun putting these together. I don't just make lesson content though. I am going to be releasing my original music really soon. I'm really excited. I can't say too much about it right now, but yeah, within the next week or so there will be something, I'm sure. So guys, let's dig straight in then. Now, where do we begin with bending then, or string bending? I think it's important to note that this is one of the things really that separates good players from, you know, the top players, in my opinion anyway. You can always kind of tell by the way in which players control their bending, but also their vibrato. I think these are dead giveaways. If you're not putting in the time to that, I think automatically phrases aren't going to sound as musical. I think it's all about the control and the manipulation of the notes really, and string bending is just another way of doing this. So I mean, how can you think about this differently other than the typical, you know, when we first learn that kind of sound? Well, I think it's important to think of it as just another way of playing phrases. So for example, a really typical phrase could be something like this. What's to say that we can't bend into that? So there's a couple of ways we could do that. We could go. That's one way. You could go. That's another way. You could go. All really cool. Now, there's a few different variations going on there. You'll see. I think the first one I went like. Along the lines of that would work. Second one, I was actually basically bending up after I'd already reached the target note, so you can go. There's another way of doing that. You could do this, for example, so once we hit that note, you literally just put the little finger on, so hold the bend, and then it's the same thing. Now that just adds different elements of sophistication to that original phrase, which was sounds cool by itself, but there's just another way of doing it now. Take it up an octave, the same thing. Now the important thing with all of this though is that you are being really honest with yourself in terms of the pitches. Are you correctly hitting that target tone? Are you applying the vibrato correctly as well? That's another thing. I mean, a lot of people, what they tend to do is they hit the target pitch. So say here we want to go from this note to this note. And then they'll go sharp, which just doesn't sound that cool. Or they'll go flat. So that's the note we're after. Which doesn't sound good. This is the thing. You need to spend a lot of time being just honest with yourself. I think I say this in a lot of my teaching videos. I think nowadays it's so tempting to just go into a pitch correction thing like you would with vocals and edit that in post. But that's not going to work in a live situation or a gigging situation, you know. Listen to players like Eric Gales, listen to players like Guthrie, listen to John Mayer. All of these different dudes have their own way of doing this. And the more you can, you know, steal or absorb information from them, the better, the more musical you're going to sound. Another way you could think about this, I mean, guys like Steve Lukather, I think I robbed this from originally, but he could do something like this. So imagine we are in C sharp minor pentatonic, the same as the backing track, for example. Now, a lot of the time people will do this thing, which is where you bend the major 9 into the minor 3rd. Sounds very much like a saxophone tune, that, what is it, Baker Street. But why not try bending the flat 9 into the 9 so you get this? That sounds wicked to my ears. Maybe an octave below. Now there I didn't quite hit the target note. that's where another thing comes into play. This is the whole microtonal bend. And this is to do with using your ears, really. We're trying to create a mirage of sound. A lot of people can relate this to the whole blues thing, you know, where you bend the minor third into the major third, this kind of idea. So we're in C sharp again, so you've got... So that bend there, technically, is not a half step bend, you know, if you want to go from minor third to major third. Technically, it would sound like this. Whereas I think this sounds cooler, and I'm sure the blues guys, that's where, you know, this is where it all comes from, really. So that it's not quite there. It's just that added bit of filth, if you like, when you're listening to it. So one last exercise then to get used to this. I think we should take maybe the C sharp minor scale, like the pentatonic rather, so just on one string, let's just take the B string. Now what I want you to do is go from a pitch below and try to bend into every note in that and be really honest. So you could go... So that was all, some of them are like, you know, a tone and a half, but most are a tone. So you've got, again, that sugar. See how that was flat? So the idea is to just try and get those so that they're all perfectly in tune, or thereabouts, shall we say. Even there you can see I made a mistake, it's not an easy thing to do. So guys, I mean, these are just a few ideas, but what I would suggest is try and manipulate any phrase that you've got, you know, like a stock thing that you always do, and try to incorporate your bends into it. I'm sure you'll find that there are multiple ways of doing this. There isn't just one bend in most situations. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that anyway. My name is Jack Gardiner, and if you did like this, please make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click that little bell for notifications, and let me know what it is you would like to see next. Don't forget, I have tons of lessons available for download over on my website. That is www.jack-gardiner.co.uk. Yeah, there's loads of these kind of ideas, especially in my one chord grooves package. It's from a few years ago, but there's still plenty of really useful things, I think, anyway, in terms of developing phrasing. Guys, thanks again for checking this out. Until next time, cheers.